Hey guys, Alvin here. In today's video, I'm interviewing a dear friend of mine, Hari, where he'll talk about the loss of his mom, his dad having to go through multiple strokes, and also his commentary on the Singapore healthcare system. Since we're both born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s kids, we thought we'll bring back some nostalgia and record the entire shot on this camcorder right here. And Hari's wish is actually to put out his story to reach out to others who might be in the same predicament as him, and also to have enough strength to keep moving forward in this dark period. Without further ado, let's start the interview. Today, I'm going to talk about, the loss of your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
He went through, I think, a few strokes recently.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
And then, you had to, there's drastic change in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But let's just bring it back from the start. How was it like growing up with your parents? Like, were they like typical Asian strict parents? Or?
Yeah. I think typical Asian parents. So I'm an only child. They actually had me. Oh yeah, they were lovebirds. I think they got married when they were 22. But they were trying after that. And imagine this is in 1970s. They got married in 1975. So they actually tried for 11 years before they had me. So you can imagine the amount of pressure that, as a Asian family might get when they're trying to have kids, but, for whatever reason, they couldn't. So I think that in itself was quite a little bit dramatic, for them lah.
So you're like a precious baby lah.
I guess you can say that lah.
So do you think you're like spoiled by them?
I mean, no, honestly, on paper, if you think about it, 11 years, first and only kid, I'm definitely sure I was pampered, especially by my mom, definitely pampered a lot. But spoiled, I don't think so. Personally, I don't think I was spoiled. I don't come across as spoiled. But there have also been instances where people have told me, after getting to know me for a fair bit, right? And then, if for whatever reason I say, I'm an only child. It's like, huh? Really? You're an only child? So I would have never have guessed it. You don't come across as an only child.
Yeah, you definitely didn't to me.
Yeah, so case in point, and you're not the only one. There's been others as well.
So you're closer to your mom?
Oh, yeah. But I'm mama's boy. No question. No question about it. Yeah.
And your dad's the kind of like the sole breadwinner.
Yeah. So I think that's probably also another reason why. Firstly, usually boys tend to be closer with their mom. Generally speaking, daddies are always, daddy's little girl, that kind of thing. But having said that, typical family. I don't think there was anything out of the norm. We were from I would say, I think lower middle income kind of family. So, that's just for context to give a little bit of background. But sole breadwinner. So she's cooking, cleaning, more importantly, looking after me. So, obviously I'm spending a lot of time. No, but sorry, actually having said that, when I was younger, she did work as well, actually. So I think the first few years was a bit difficult in terms of her working. But when I was, I think maybe, 5 to 7 or around that period, no, she was actually, on hindsight now that I think about it, no, she works as well.
Was her health like generally?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was fine. It was all, I know we'll get to that later, but no, generally speaking, she was overweight. That's about it. Other than that, no, but she doesn't exercise. But yeah, typical Asia or Indian mom who grew up in the 1950s, 60s kind of thing, I would guess. No, actually, she was actually very thin, but she ballooned up after she gave birth.
But she did have like a really strong overcome the odds battle.
Oh my goodness.
With cancer, right?
Yeah, that would be the strong attitude is, I think that is an understatement. Honestly, I know it sounds like a cliche, but I honestly feel that she is, I'm just trying to think if there's anyone else. I honestly think that she's the strongest person that I know. I mean, that I personally know. I mean, obviously you got your inspirational stories out there, in the world. We put that aside. I think personally, she's honestly the strongest person that I know. Yeah. So, but yeah. So she got diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer in '09.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So unfortunately, when she was diagnosed, it was already stage 4, and that is also, to be honest, partially her fault. Because she was too scared. So she didn't get it checked out earlier on. So once she kind of figured out that something is wrong, she didn't tell anyone. She, not even my dad. And yeah, she definitely didn't go and see the doctor.
Did it get to a stage where like the doctors were telling you guys, your mom only has this amount of months to live?
No, it never got to that.
It never got
Honestly, I had a conversation early on. Basically, yeah, in early 2010, I guess. So after also, I guess, so-called official, and then after that, because after the initial state was quite bad. She'll go to the hospital in and out, either due to the chemo side effects, or even before she started chemo. There's been times where she went to the hospital. I still can remember. It was '09, right? It was late '09, so maybe probably early 2010. I was still in UOL, SIM. So I think the prelim exams are usually March, I think, whatever the case. Yeah, so like I went for the prelims. I was studying, I went for the prelim, and I went to visit her after the exam. And I might have done it again in May, I think. The timeline kind of escapes me, but that is something that I vividly remember. I still can remember, like, going to KK after the prelims.
So after recovering from battling cancer, then from then on, her health was pretty much.
No, she
Okay.
she never recovered. So the stage 4, right? So it was
Oh, it's in the remission.
she never fully got cured. So it was always, she never got cured of it. So because if you got cured, then yeah, remission. I guess you can use the word remission, but in her case, no. So she was going for chemo, and then she went for the so-called normal chemo, which is the injection. It's either once every 3 weeks or once a week, depending on what the doctor says. Sometimes they need to increase the dosage. Sometimes it's more frequent. Sometimes it's stronger dose, etc. Yeah, and that, firstly, that costs a lot of money. Yeah, I guess we'll get to that later. But thank God for the Cancer Society and the KK Welfare Society as well. But after a while, yeah, there's only so much they can do. There's obviously other people that need the assistance as well. So there's only so much that they can sponsor. So like an alternative to that. So but anyways, she went for 2 full cycles of chemotherapy in terms of the injection wise. And I think that easily would have been, I don't know, man, 30-40K per cycle, I think. Might have been more. Because I remember every vial, what they call it, the vial, is 3,000 plus.
Wow.
And there's like 2 chemicals. So one of it is 3,000 plus. I think another one is like maybe 1,000 plus. Something along those lines.
So
I could be roughly, I mean, I could be getting it a little bit wrong, but it's around, it ballpark figures around there.
How long did she need to? She just kept going.
No, it's a 6-month cycle. You rest because it's so taxing on the body, right? 6-month cycle, you rest. They will take a scan again, see how's the spreading, or how strong it is, I guess. And then if required, you go again. So she went 2 times, and then after that, firstly, it was taking a toll on the body. Secondly, it was still under control, kind of. So she switched to, at that time, a relatively new form of chemotherapy was tablets, actually. Yeah. So she switched to the tablets. The tablets are obviously much cheaper, but still, we're talking about pills that cost like $700 I can't remember for how much, but yeah.
So did all these all these injections and stuff like that, did the doctor say like it could, increase risk of, I believe when she had a cardiac arrest?
Oh yeah, I mean that was Yeah. No. I mean, but to answer your question, no.
There isn't any.
Yeah, so I think you asked something similar earlier, in not in terms of side effects, but like, or did the doctor actually say like how long she has to live? No, I had so early on, I asked the doctor that question, and he's, I guess rightfully so or understandably so, he was like, he couldn't give a proper answer, because which is true, because it really depends on the person, and different people react differently to chemo, and the side effects might be different for you versus to me, etc. But no, the side effects of chemo, nothing to do with cardiac arrest lah. I think in her case, most likely what happened was because she was battling it for a good 7 years. From the day of the diagnosis to when she passed, that was 7 years. But how long she's been living with cancer is probably closer to, I think, 8 or maybe 9. I maybe even longer than that. But no. I mean, the doctor didn't say anything about the cardiac arrest. So the cardiac arrest, most likely, we still don't know what happened, in a sense that she could have had the cardiac arrest and then fell down, or she could have fallen down and then gotten the cardiac arrest. But because her body was in such a weak state, so it's just, I guess, kind of like gave, not her, but I think the body kind of gave in, or just.
So when that happened, I remember you were overseas.
Yeah, right? Unfortunately, it was one of those. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I mean, yeah, definitely. Obviously, on hindsight, I wouldn't have gone for the trip. It was just like a 3-4. I was into marathons at that time, so it was actually like a weekend trip to Medan. Was it Medan? Yeah, it was Medan. So it's like a half marathon, or whatever the case. Yeah. So, and it's Medan, not only the main island. It's like not the main land, so to speak. It was an island off of the mainland, so there's only ferries. There's only like 2 ferries a day. I think one in the morning, one in the afternoon, something like that.
So it was your dad who called you?
Yeah. So I still remember, it was a Sunday. We just ran the marathon in the morning, so I was feeling pretty good. I mean, I can't remember my time, but I did pretty well by my own standards. I did pretty well. I went with 2 other friends of mine, so so it's like, okay, we've been training for the past 3 to 6 months, or we all had a good times. I mean, we all had our good timings. So now the party, so like we were chilling, and it was at night. We were back at the we were actually at the bar. Yeah. Oh, it was a restaurant lah, but yeah, we had dinner, and then we were actually having drinks. And I remember the owner was a friendly dude. He was actually playing guitar and singing songs. He actually came to the table and all that. Then after that, I got a call.
And then what was your immediate reaction?
Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that in 1,000 years.
Did you panic, oh, I need to get off this and then you go back home right now, that kind of thing? Was that
no, that wasn't the initial one. The initial thought was just pure shock. I was like, huh?
So your dad just informed you that your mom's in the hospital, or how did he?
No. When he called, she already had gone.
Passed.
Yeah, but I don't blame him. He also didn't know how to kind of say. He was in a state of shock himself. He actually gave the phone to my cousin's sister, and then she was also kanchong spider. She what do you want me to say? She gave it back, and then he's in Tamil or something like, hey, Hari, Amma poitanga, which means Amma is gone, kind of thing. So that's when I was shocked. Then I think that's the first time I swore at my dad, in a sense that I didn't scold him. I was like, what the F are you talking about? And then he's like, hey, do you know who you're talking to? And I'm like, yeah, I was out of it. The drinks didn't help either, but honestly, it's not as if I was intoxicated or anything. Probably had just a few drinks. So in that sense, still, if you can say sober, I was still sober.
So obviously you got back. I remember picking you up from the airport.
Oh yeah, thanks for that.
Dropping
yes.
you off.
Yeah.
And then I went back. How did you feel after seeing your dad?
It was honestly, yeah, the timing was a little bit bad. Not to see my dad, but I don't know if you can remember, but dropped me at the drop off point, and then from under the block you can see the corridors all
relatives, yeah.
lined up with people because this was oh yeah, because I couldn't come back in time, so we of course started to see whether we can change the flight, blah blah blah. But flight wasn't difficult to change if you really wanted to, but it was the ferry out of the island. So apparently I could have gotten a speedboat, but a speedboat at that time on such short notice would probably taken, I don't know. I mean, not taken, probably would have cost a lot of money, which you know couldn't afford lah. So that was a sucky 12 hours because I had to sleep that night, knowing that firstly I can't do anything. I'm helpless. I'm all the way over here. And my mom's, well, technically in Singapore, but she's gone lah. So like I said, so after you drop me off, the relatives are all there, so it's crowded, and then once you go up and like you get out of the lift, and then everyone's there, everyone's looking at you. I don't know, maybe half of them probably trying to see like what kind of reaction is it gonna be. I don't know, some of them like looking as if what am I supposed to burst out crying or something, So, but no, I mean, but I didn't. I just walked straight. I firstly obviously wanted to see her, then and there was just too much information. You got people telling you sorry, and other people.
So you didn't quite have like your moment of.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it was a while later. It was the same day, but it was a while later. Yeah.
So how did your dad cope with it?
He was quite blank, to be honest. I mean, in like lost lah, He was fine. He didn't. But by that time, it was already kind of like it already set in lah for all of us. But I mean, are you asking how did he cope on that day or
in general? Like after that, yeah. How did he? Was there something that you noticed like that changed for him? That might indicate like, this is how he's coping with it.
No, actually, no, to be honest, no. He's same thing, typical old school dad. Doesn't really talk about feelings that much. Anyway, initially lah. So he just tried to. He's a man of faith, so he's very very strong faith in religion. I mean, in this case, Hinduism. So, he'll just stick to his prayers and going down that path lah. Yeah. So I think that was his outlet, to be honest. And he was working. Yeah, he was still working, so I guess that helped.
Then your dad's health wasn't the best either. I remember like you were telling me like he went for health checkup and stuff, and like cholesterol levels were really
that
high.
was after. That was many years later. But yeah. So he's taxi driver / Grab driver, right? So because in order for you to have after 65, you have to go for yearly checkup in order to basically keep your license lah, or rather keep a taxi license. So that was when this was what, maybe 3 years? No, probably 4 or 5 years ago. So then that's when normal typical ECG, and then they realized that was it's not optimal lah. So basically he had something called a atrial fibrillation. They call it AF for short. Basically, in summary, it's a irregular heartbeat. But it's actually unfortunately common amongst elderly folk. So you got diagnosed with that. So he was on medication after that, and also because he doesn't really look after himself. At that time, he tried a little bit after that, but yeah, so he's overweight. He had diabetes, high blood pressure. They're all interrelated, to be honest. So yeah, in that sense. But I mean, I know I just rattled off of a few things, but generally he was fine. He was an able-bodied man, rarely fell sick. Even with COVID, like he got COVID once, I think. As far as we know, it was once, but other than a cough and a little bit of flu, he didn't have. But he was already vaccinated at the time. But
So on the day when the stroke occurred, like what actually happened? You were at home, right?
yeah. Thank God I was at home. So I was working from home for that particular day. I think it was I can't remember, probably a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday. Yeah, I was in office on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I think Wednesday I actually ended late, or whatnot. Anyway, yeah. So assuming it was a Thursday, yeah. So he was just going for his normal daily routine. He wakes up. At that time, he was retired already. So he wakes up, does his prayers, has his breakfast, chills a little bit, and then like 10 plus, 11 plus, he'll go for a walk, get lunch for the both of us, and then come back. So this time around, he went for his walk to get lunch for the both of us, like I said. But this time around, so he went halfway, and it's not even that far to the coffee shop. Walk halfway, and then he's like, okay, wait, no, something's wrong. He comes back. We actually have a chair outside our house. Even though he had the keys, he actually, he couldn't even open the gate. So he sat down outside on the chair, but he sat down, and then, he calls me. And, I think, like I said, it was like 10 something, 11 something. Thankfully, I wasn't sleeping. Or even if I was, thankfully, I picked up the phone. So, so he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm tired. I can't open the gate. I'm breathless. Like, crap. Okay, rush, open. He's outside, and he's like, okay, I'm a bit breathless. I'm feeling a bit numb. Can't really raise my left hand. I was like, okay. I mean, at this time, I guess I'm a little bit more seasoned when it comes to such things. So, I wasn't even I mean, no, obviously I was worried, but as in, like, I wasn't like shell shocked. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I wasn't shell shocked or anything. Minute he says that, like, okay, wait, are you numb? And he's like, oh, my lips are numb. Try to raise your hand. No, can't do it. Boom, 995. I called them, but he was still talking and it was fine in that sense. So I actually called them. I said, look, this is the situation, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I should call you guys or I should call 1777, because 1777 is for the still emergency, but not life or death kind of thing. They were like, no, you did the right thing. Sounds like a stroke. We're gonna come down now.
Yeah, how fast did
11 minutes they were there at the doorstep. That's pretty impressive if you ask me, but
which hospital did they bring?
no, we ended up Tan Tock Seng. The closest is Khoo Teck Huat. But so after they came, they did their test. They didn't even bring him inside. It was outside. All the gadgets and whatnot. So they realized that. But at that time, I already explained to them he's got AF. Because I don't want the readings to make it seem that he's got something when he's already got pre-existing condition. But anyway, having said that, I said okay. They're like, look, most likely it's a stroke. So they discussed a little bit, but they decided that Tan Tock Seng would be the best because they are known for stroke, heart attack, such
cardio.
Cardio related things. That I think they really specialize in that. So I think on hindsight, rightfully or luckily, whatever the case, I'm glad we went Tan Tock Seng. So straight to Tan Tock Seng.
So he went for op immediately, or
So he went for a scan. I believe it was a CT scan. Went for a scan. He was supposed to go to the ward first. So after the scan, I guess the results showed that he had to go for op immediately. So yeah, he didn't even go to the ward. He went for the op immediately. Yeah. And after that, yeah.
And he was in the ICU, is it?
No, not the first time. Yeah. So then the op was successful, but he was in the high dependency ward instead. So he was under anesthesia or.
So how long was he there inside that?
The high dependency, I believe 3 or 4 days, and then after that, he was in a normal ward, for the rest of the days until the second stroke. So this one I still remember on the 10th day. So he was already back in the normal ward. He was actually recovering pretty well. And then I still remember I was on my way to see him. He calls me at like 11:30. Excuse me. Calls me at 11:30. Hey, what time you coming? I'm like, visiting hours at 12 lah. Relax lah. But I was already on the way. I was already out of the house. Then I asked him what he wants. Oh, Indian food, as usual. So I got Indian food and I was on my way there. So I went down. So I went down. It was like 12:10, 12:15. So you just imagine 11:30, and he called me 11:30, and then he called me at 11:50 again. It's like, hey, where are you? I'm already in the cab. You need to wait. 12:15 I reach. He's snoring loudly. So okay. I tried to wake him up. He couldn't wake up. That, on hindsight lah. That should have triggered something. But he was, like I said, he was snoring loudly. So I just thought, okay, obviously the man's tired. Medication, knocked out. I said, okay, fine, I'll go and get a coffee. Go get a coffee, I come back. The nurses are all like kind of already surrounding. So I think, so I met him at 12:15, he was sleeping. Waited for a while, for like 5 minutes. He's not waking up. So I went down, I think I came back I took my time because he was sleeping, right? So I came back maybe 12:45, 12, whatever. Around there. Nurses were all already scrambling around him, doctor, this, that, they covered the curtain, blah, blah, blah. So they wheeled him off. Second stroke.
That's an op straight away.
Yeah. After the scan, the minute they realize that there's a clot, right? So they have to go.
So it was like another stroke.
These are not mini. These are major stroke.
Okay.
Then, but by this time the heart and the body is weak from the first stroke, right? And it's only 10 days since the first stroke. So. But unfortunately the heart couldn't take it, body couldn't take it. They had to stop the operation halfway, and then after that they moved him to the ICU. So okay, and so I think after not even a whole day, I think maybe after about 5-6 hours, the doctor calls me in person, and she's like, I think so. This is what happened. Blah blah blah. I think you need to tell all your loved ones to come and see him. Oh, okay. So, all right. So we called everyone, and because I'm sure you know what this means, lah.
So you feared for the worst.
Yeah, definitely. Because
it
looked bad as well. You saw him, lah. So you know all the tubes, and he's basically on life support at that time.
And how were you like?
No, I wouldn't say numb to it, but I was more, I guess maybe stoic or hard. Because I was like, okay, no, let's just deal with this first. Deal with whatever that needs to happen. Make sure everything is smooth. And then we can process and we can deal with feelings later on. No point, this is my opinion. There's no point bawling my eyes out in front of him, regardless of whether he can hear me or not, in front of him or, in the hospital. It's, I'm the sole point of contact, right? So I need to make sure that, everything's in order, lah, so to speak. Yeah. So
But the good thing is the worst never ever
yeah,
came through, right?
yeah, and that's the thing. So I mean,
So your dad's also kind of like a fighter
yeah,
also.
that's the thing. No, this surprised me. I'll be the first to admit. I didn't really expect it out of him, but yeah, he is. So he was in ICU for I think a good 4 or 5 days, and then no, came out of it. Then moved to high dependency another 4 or 5 days, give or take, and then normal ward. But that the second time really took its toll. He was basically sleeping most of the time. They had to strap his hands in the middle at night lah. Actually, even the daytime. If I'm there, I'll ask them to take it out because he always wants to take out the feeding tube. He wants to. It's like almost. It looks like sleepwalking. Yeah, he wants to get out of bed, either to go to the toilet. I think it's just muscle memory or the body just like, because he's been lying in bed for such a long time, right? The body probably just wants to like get out and move lah. Yeah.
But that was it, right? There's no more complications or any other things.
No, it
after.
wasn't complications. There's a lot of scans. It's just,
But it was, as in the whole thing has been stabilized. It's just going through all the, to make sure everything is still okay from where it is.
Yeah. Yes. But I think there was still complications. That's why it took 3 months for him to get discharged because, so this is what, 2.5 weeks into the whole thing, because 10 days stroke, ICU, high dependency, normal ward. Okay, like let's say, yeah, 3.5 weeks, right? So after that, there was still blood clot there was bleeding in his brain. So they can't give this medication because the heart can't take it. But then if they don't give the medication, then the heart won't be, not a heart, the blood is not thin enough to be pumping. And then that means he can get another stroke. It's like a vicious cycle kind of thing. He was losing a lot of weight as well because he wasn't eating right. Not eating, yeah, he wasn't eating properly, period. And I think finally after 2 months of all that back and forth, he finally got the green light to move to the rehab center. So that was,
Where's the rehab center?
oh, it's right beside actually.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
a few. Tan Tock Seng is affiliated to one in Ang Mo Kio. I forgot the name of the rehab center now, but it's a Chinese name, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So there's a rehab center in Ang Mo Kio as well. But then, in this case, we were lucky. So there is they call it the integrated health hub or integrated care hub. And like I said, it's right beside the main ward in Tan Tock Seng. So we were there in August. We were there, right? We started being there. They only opened it in September or early October. So it was actually one of the first, maybe not first few lah, but it was definitely the first batch lah. Yeah. So everything was new. Oh, it looked pretty high tech. Like each I mean, his particular ward was 4-bedder. So, okay, but maybe this is partially because it's B1. Well, he's got our own iPad. No, but not that he can use it lah. Or rather, he can use it, but it's more obviously you'll have your health applications like not your YouTube or whatever. But yeah, it was all, yeah, it was good. It was good, and the people there were really good. Even both places actually. Yeah, so
How long did he need to spend at the rehab?
Another 2-3 weeks, and that one actually he could have probably gotten discharged maybe, I think maybe after 5 weeks, but he was there for another 2 weeks, give or take. I'm probably getting the timeline a little bit off lah, but it's around that period. Because by the time I had to arrange for a helper, so I had to wait for the helper to come down so that she can go for training, which Tan Tock Seng provides, before they can so-called sign off on discharging him. Yeah.
So now that he's home, doesn't need to stay at the rehab center anymore and stuff like that. And then you have a helper as well.
Yeah.
And you also moved to a new place.
Yeah, that too lah. I mean, the timing couldn't have been more perfect lah in that sense.
Yeah. So how's it like being, I guess, a full-time caretaker, right? In the sense.
I mean,
Well, you
yeah,
have to-
I guess I would. Yeah, probably I would
You're
qualify.
the only one who is sort of looking after your dad, and the helper is.
Thank God for her as well, honestly. But yeah.
Because the helper can't make decisions, right? You still have to be the one that's here and.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you mean how is it like?
Yeah, like stress or anxiety.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't have like siblings per se. Of course, I've got cousins, I've got close friends and loved ones, but I don't have siblings, and I'm single, so like in that sense, the burden obviously is only on me, right? So that definitely does take its toll, because obviously I need to make sure that obviously that I'm working in order for the income to come in, so that I can, look after him as well. Yeah. So I would say definitely stressful. Can be quite sometimes a little bit overwhelming. I have to admit. Yeah.
What do you do to like alleviate, or like what do you do about stress? Do you just take it and be stoic like your dad, or like?
Oh no. I think in that sense I'm lucky. I've got a good support network, be it friends or family. So usually sometimes I can be introverted. Sometimes I just want to go into my literally man cave, and just sleep away. But sometimes if I'm a little bit more open, I guess, I'll talk to my friends. Can't really go, not say can't go out, but I don't really go out that much, because
you might be
now
at home.
Yeah. But no, but having said that, now the helper is way more comfortable with him, so I'm like 150% confident that I can leave both of them at home and nothing. Anyway, I have a camera anyway, but I don't need to worry about him in that sense. But
so you kind of got like a daily routine, everything just going, everything just moves along nicely, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now it took some time Now he's been 5 months? 5 months since he's back. Well, in December he got a mini third stroke, so he went to the hospital again for 4 days. If you take it as that, then it's April, so he's been back home for 4 months, 4.5 months in that sense. But he's got and another lucky thing. So I live in block 131. In block 126, there's a rehab center.
Oh.
Yeah, so he goes for
like,
weekly.
5 minutes?
Yeah,
away.
Exactly. So you don't even need to take public transport or any kind of transport. So helper just uses the wheelchair and brings him there, twice, either 2 or 3 times a week.
So having gone through, your mom's and then your dad's stroke and the whole hospitalization, all the medical things, how did you feel about the whole process, Singapore's health system?
Oh man,
what we went through?
Really? Even for my mom and my dad. My mom's one, obviously I wouldn't say I was that young. No, actually I wasn't. I was in my early 20s. But I think it's still fresh, in a sense of dad was still around. He was making, I still made a few decisions, but still he was the man of the house, and I generally kind of just take the secondary role in that sense, On hindsight, maybe I should have stepped up a bit more. When I say step up, as in maybe I should have put my foot down for certain things, instead of oh, okay, now man, you're the dad, you kind of listen. I shall listen to you. Anyway, so now it's a little bit, same thing. This is not my first rodeo, right? Unfortunately. So, but the process has been good. I know people might have a lot of opinions about how Singapore is being run or whatever the case. We don't have to get, I don't intend to, but we don't have to get into that. But the healthcare system is something that I always vouch for, because I'm clearly an example that twice of subsidies put aside subsidies, just the level of healthcare, the professionalism of the nurses and the doctors. And actually, sorry, technically 3 times, because my mom passed away 2016, 2017. My grandmom passed away as well, and I was heavily involved with her last few weeks or months lah, probably last few weeks lah. So I was at
you took charge of that.
Yeah,
that part of
yeah. I mean, even though there were a lot more people there, without getting into family politics, for whatever reason, I had to step up and like really be the front person. So I was involved in that. Yeah, so 3 times lah. Yeah. I mean, no, nothing but good things to say. And I'm very grateful for for all the people that looked after my mom and my dad. I only had one small I wouldn't even say bad lah. I think I probably caught her at a wrong time. There was one nurse in one of the days that she just seemed a bit stressed.
Yeah, maybe off day lah.
It's
tough lah. It's tough.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to say, but now she just came across as a little bit rude, or like you don't tell me what to do. I know what to do. I guess probably because you probably have a lot of family members or friends for other patients I'm talking about, that will come and say like, hey, why don't you do it this way, or why don't you do it that way, like, which is fair enough to the nurse lah, because like obviously they will know better. Yeah. So but other than that, no man. Always had a good experience. And sorry, one more thing. I mean, since we're talking about it, even even when it comes to technology, everything's really up to standard. Or actually, I would say it's actually a high standard. I don't know about other countries and how they healthcare. I mean, US, I think it's not very good, based on whatever I heard. But I think comparing to maybe other countries, I think we're still at like the front of it. Like, I mean, I get SMS. I mean, it used to go to my dad, but I changed it to my number. I get SMS for appointment reminders, and especially when I was in the hospital, constant. Dude, I was getting messages that he's undergoing operation now. When he comes out of the operation theater, I get a message like.
So it's not just the hard skills, like just making sure you don't feel lost. You're aware of what's going on.
Yeah, exactly, right. And yeah, I get constant updates. I got weekly updates. Like, I'll get a weekly call from the doctor, and they will tell me what's going on, and all that kind of stuff. And side note, I think the way I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I think in this particular case, they're dealing with all the stroke patients, and which generally means elderly people, right? I think they probably came across a lot of people that kind of like don't care about their respective elderly person in their life.
Or they just abandon, sort of leave them there.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. Different people got different. It could be a whole list of other reasons. The reason why I'm saying that is that because when they're calling me, right, they're like explaining to me from scratch, like what happened, and like as if I don't know what's going on. So they're like, oh, he's your dad, right? Yeah. So actually, what happened? He's like, no, he suffered a second stroke. I'm aware. And then we're doing this. Yeah, I'm aware. So like, but I mean, partially it's probably because they also don't know what I know, what I don't know. But when I share with them, this, and then sometimes certain things are, because there's sometimes, of course, different doctors. It's not the same doctor. Sometimes it is but yeah, whatever lah. They're a team, right? So sometimes I'll say, the PT said this. The OT said this, the doctor said this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I think they're looking after so many people, they may or may not be fully aware of what's going on. So I'll share it, and they're like pleasantly surprised, like, oh, okay, no, thanks for sharing that, because that means this, and they can also act accordingly on whatever is required lah. Yeah, so in that sense, I got the vibe that like I think other people are maybe not as involved with the whole recovery period. Yeah.
Not everyone's like you, Harry. Very dedicated, filial son.
No, I'm just doing what needs to be done.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess if there's one message you want to share with people who might be experiencing these kind of similar challenges, like, what would you want to say?
I
to them?
think two things lah. Okay, so I'll go with the infrastructure and the process first, and then the second point will be something more internal, I guess. I mean, yeah, Singapore healthcare system you're really in good hands. I'm sure there'll be some bad experiences here and there, standard of the hospital, this, that, whatever the case. But generally speaking, it's good, and even from a financial standpoint, if you're struggling, or like, I mean, for example, I didn't know my father would be in the hospital for 3 months. When I first, and he has basic insurance, so when I first had the option of putting him in whatever ward, I chose B1 because I thought, okay, he's going to be here for 1 month. I should be able to afford that with whatever, and even with my own savings or whatever the case. Turns out it was 3 months, and the bill was very substantial. We're talking close to six figures, and that was the final bill. Meaning to say that was the total bill, rather. And then of course you got your subsidies, you got your Medisave. He doesn't have much Medisave. You got my Medisave. There was still an out-of-pocket component that I had to pay. But having said that, because of the insurance covers the thankfully. But if touch wood, if something similar were to happen again, I'm pretty sure there'll be a substantial out-of-pocket component that I would probably have to pay. But one good thing about the Singapore hospitals is that they never chase you for them. Obviously, they will remind you from time to time, but they will never chase you, and they will always give you options on, okay, maybe if you can't afford it, okay, maybe this is what you can do. Maybe you can downgrade, or whatever the case. Even if you can't downgrade, let's say it's already the so-called cheapest one, and you still can't afford it for whatever reason. There are welfare societies out there. There are departments that maybe you can do payment plan or help. Basically there's help out there. For my mom's case, I can't remember the exact figures, but we couldn't afford. She didn't have insurance. We couldn't afford a lot of the things, and we actually spoke to the MP, and they actually took care of it. The outstanding bill, rather. I mean, we paid whatever we could pay. But the outstanding figure, I'm pretty sure was in the 5-digit ballpark, my friend. So, I'll always be grateful for the Singapore Cancer Society, the KK welfare department, and in Singapore healthcare system in general, to be honest, and the government, because they always, I mean, I guess this is why our paying our tax for. So that's the one thing, and then the second thing is from a mental health or stress kind of thing. There are support groups for caregivers. Always reach out. Always good to reach out and talk to people. And
did you?
I'd signed up for it.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gone for any.
Where did you sign up? What did you?
Oh no, it's good. It was like, so the second time he when he got his third stroke, it was the second time he went to the hospital, right? So I was at a ward, so it's like a QR code. It's like, for caregivers, it's like if you need help, you need support network.
Oh, cool.
QR code, click the QR code, and then after that I get like invitation for Zoom meetings.
Okay, send me the link then I'll drop it in the
description.
description.
That's good. Yeah, I will.
Sorry, interrupted, but you were saying that.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think I have an email or whatever the case. I'll send it on. And it's always good to have an outlet. I mean, I'm definitely not on the other end of it. I would still think I'm in the middle of things. Sounds a little bit, well, maybe not cheesy, but I think it's easy for me to say. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not doing this currently. I should be, but I'm not. But yeah, try to you know, like look after yourself. You know, like it's a simple things like getting out of bed, just looking after yourself, like from a grooming standpoint, you know, trying to eat a little bit better, you know, not drinking so much, not smoking so much. If you can go for a run, that'll be great, but I obviously haven't for a while, but you know, yeah, like things of that nature, but yeah, you know, keep your head up, and yeah, things will definitely get better. You'll definitely, even if it's a long-term thing, like you will learn how to adapt. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You'll definitely get better because you learn how to adapt, and yeah, you're not alone lah. So just remember that when it's the darkest. Yeah, man, that's all.
Sounds inspiring, man.
Thanks, man. I wish
Thanks
I
for
can.
doing this.
Hey, no worries. Thanks
I
for
hope,
having me.
I mean, whoever watches / listens to this gets something out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, same thing. I don't know how many people might.
I don't know, no one knows.
Yeah.
Maybe none.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fine. But even if I can help one person, I still consider it a win lah.
that was kind of my idea when I thought about doing this. I mean, that is the main one. The second one is also like, we've never really
Not like that
about,
lah.
it's always like a bit here,
bits
then,
and pieces, and then
a bit here, then we
messaging.
drink, and then we a bit here, then you know. But yeah, I'm glad we had this.
Yeah.
I also, I mean, hearing everything together, and like just really a proper conversation. I think as friendship, it really helped me as well.
Yeah. I think lah. I mean, I think vocalizing helps. I mean, obviously, as you can tell. Okay, now, firstly, it's relatively easy for me to talk, but about things that I know. But having said that, you know, it kind of came naturally because I didn't have to think that much because, you know, these are thoughts that I've thought about 1,000 times. So, you know, it wasn't that difficult to formulate the words. But yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks.